Hello and welcome. It is the 26th of September. My name is David Wiley. This is ULTradez. Thank you for joining me. This is a channel I created to document my journey process of getting 20 Apex accounts through the evaluation phase and into funded status and then eventually to payout. So today, instead of, I won't be doing a recap today of where I'm at. Maybe tomorrow I'll have time to get to that. But I did make another video for another reason, and I replay today in the RTY and how it should have been traded based on the RTY strategy that I use. It's the strategy that I talk about in all my videos, so I won't go into it in detail. But I thought it might be interesting to share that. So that will be today's video. Hopefully it helps somebody out. Let me know if you have any questions, and enjoy. All right, so let's go through and let's replay the 26th of September and go through some of these trades. Of course, we know how the day ends, and so I guess it's cheating a little bit, but sometimes when you go back and look at things in the rearview mirror, it seems obvious what happened, but there can be a lot of price action in the candles that you miss if you don't do it kind of in real time. So we've got it sped up here. We know that it goes up for a while. So I'm at 15x right now. First of all, though, I should point out, in case this changes in the future, the ATM strategy that I'm using, I'll just pull it up here, is 2 contracts. The first contract, they both start off with a stop loss of 20. And right now I'm using 10 ticks on the first contract, 20 ticks on the second contract. I think that we may recommend that we increase the target on the second contract or the second half of your position to 30 ticks. But for now, we'll just do 20 for this example. The stop strategy on the second contract is that it starts trailing at 20 ticks once you hit 10 ticks. So essentially the first contract will fill at 10 ticks. You'll lock in that profit, and immediately the second contract will bump up to 20 ticks behind that, which is 10 ticks behind your starting price, which essentially puts you at a break even. Worst case scenario, if price came back and you got stopped out at 10 tick loss on the second contract, you would be basically break even for the trade. Which is what we're going for. It's a move to essentially protect us. So that's what we're using. All right, so we want to wait till about 8:35. Okay. All right, so now at this point in time, all right, so right here, I'm going to wait till this candle closes. All right, so right here we have the setup that we're looking for, which is we have the stack, we have the red line, we have the gold line, and we have price. So the gold line is between price and the red line, which means we want to go long. We want to be buying. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go down below price, basically the opposite of where I want to go. And I'm going to put my buy limit order in for 2. Right click, attach to the indicator. I have a lot of indicators that aren't on the screen. That's why my list is so long. But the 5-minute 9 EMA, and the offset is +1. Okay, so there we go. Then let's just fast forward this here. See where it goes. Again, that's it. The only thing I'm looking for is a reason to cancel the order, which the only reason I would cancel the order is if price came back down, not quite to the gold line, and started to take off again. I would probably cancel it to reassess. Otherwise, I will let it fill. We'll see where it goes. And what do they call it? A disclaimer. I did not trade RTY this way today. So don't call me a hypocrite for do as I say, not as I do in this case. I had too much other stuff I was looking at, so I missed this particular entry. So let's go ahead and slow it down. as price comes closer. It's kind of funny when it does this because it's like this little like push and pull between price and the line and your order. And all right, so there we get filled. You can see our two targets. First target filled. And this is way sped up, so we're at 6 times speed right now. And I'll kind of speed it up between the trades. Okay, and there's our stop. Let me pull up, let's see, where do I have it here? Okay, so that one netted us 25 bucks. So any trade, in my view, any trade that is not any trade that's positive is a winning trade. So you can see that our the trailing stop on that second contract, pulled up behind us and barely ticked us in here. All right, so now, oops, there we go. So now what are we waiting for? We're waiting for a second touch or a reset. So we need price to pull away from the line in order to come back to the line, because we're still kind of in this first touch territory here. Right now it looks like it's coming down. Doesn't really know where it wants to go. Okay, so this is where it gets kind of tricky, right? Because we have this would technically be coming down for the second touch. So if you were quick and you wanted to get in here, you could. I'm not going to, because I see lower lows and I see low. This looks like it's coming down to me. And we don't really have, I'm looking for 3 or 4 candles. There's not a number that I have that are pulling away from the line before it comes back. And I'm just not going to mess with it. And of course, we know it does go down. So at the end of it, if you would have had, I would be waiting for this second candle off of the line to form. So we had this candle on the line, this candle came off of the line. I'd be looking for one more candle to close above the line before I would think about putting an order on there again. But again, we talked about the pivots. This is a lower pivot high than these guys over here. So we're stair-stepping down. This is not an ideal entry, even though technically, it's technically a second touch. That's what kept me out of that one. And let's fast forward, see where we end up next. Okay, we're not pushing up. So right in here, as you're watching this, there's no real need to be watching this candle by candle. Get up, go get something to drink or something to eat. Right now, price is low. Okay, so what do we need? This is a reset, so it's either got to come back up or we've got to wait for the gold line to cross the red line before we'd be looking for a trade. So again, there's not really anything to see here for now. We're waiting for those lines to cross because we have price down below. We just need the gold line to be between the red line and price. Is it going to give it to us? It doesn't look like it. Okay. Ooh, slow this down. Pause. Okay, so here we have another. This is the same setup. See, that we had here, right? We have a push off the line. We have a push above the line, right? This was a reset, but here we have the push above the line. We have one candle close above. And now this guy's coming back. But what do we have? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, if we count this, 5 lower highs, right? Price is still, if you drew some kind of a trend line, price is coming down. We don't have an indication yet that it's coming up. So because we don't have, 2 or 3 candles closing above the line, because we don't have a recent pivot high, I'm there's no trade here. All right, so even though this candle closes, I don't know. I don't know if it would have filled or not. I don't think an order would have filled even if we had one right here. But because this came down almost to the line and pulled away, I would have canceled. If I had an order there, I would cancel it because price touched and pulled away already. So if it comes back again, it's like, the more it comes down, it's like a bouncing ball, right? The more times it comes down, the smaller the rebound is going to be. We're looking for a pull away and a return to the line. We're not looking for these little these little dribbly bounces, right? So no trade. All right, so now price is below. Now we're again waiting for the lines to match up or for price to come back up. So now price is back above the line. Okay. So let's pause right there. So we have, price has come up. What do we have? We've got, if we hold our little line here across, it didn't create a new high, but it did touch this old one. And we have higher lows. Okay. We have the lows up, another low up, another low, a low. Okay. So just looking at price action here, this looks like it's sloping up. We have 1, 2, 3 candles above that gold line. I would put an order in here right here. So I'm going to buy 2. Of course, if you're doing this in real time, you'd have those 3 minutes to really be thinking about this. But because I am rushing, I'm fast forwarding, I pause at these times. So 5-minute 9, we're above it. So we're going to go +1. Okay. And let's see what happens. Slow down a little bit. Okay, now we do have, now we're feeling better because price did push higher. Okay, so now we definitely have a higher pivot. So now we're feeling even better about it, even though this is coming down pretty fast. So that is a little concerning. Let's see if it punishes us. At the end of the day, you can't, sometimes it'll look really unsure and it works out just fine. Other times it looks perfect and it doesn't work out. So you can't get too hung up on it. You just have to, say, okay, over time, we're going to be profitable. So just go with it. Now here's where you'd be really tempted to start moving stuff around because it looks like it's falling down. And that's what I would do, which is probably not the right thing to do. Again, do as I say, not as I do. Really, your job as a trader is to identify the entry and to execute the order and then to not touch it. Okay. Especially when you're starting out. If you're super experienced, then maybe you can start playing with things, managing the trade as it's going. But these parameters are designed and tested to work, I think 71% of the time or 73% of the time is what we've estimated based on our testing. Which means, 1 out of 4 is going to fail. But we give ourselves this stop loss room so that it can do its thing. Okay, so we got our first target filled. Is he going to fill the second one before it stops us out? I don't think so. See now right here. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so it stopped us out. So now we're up $65. This does not include commission, so it's, your real profit would be less than that. But see, while we were in that trade, you're looking at this and it's starting to come up. You're like, okay, that's good. It's bouncing off, and then it comes down and stops you out. So that's just the way it goes. You can't feel bad about those things at all. Just the way that it goes. Okay, so let's keep moving. So we've got trade 1, we got trade 2, and this was, to be kind of patient for this one. Okay, so let's pause. All right, because we had a reset. We've got a cross of the lines. We've got our stack. We've got the gold line between the red line and price. And so we're going short, which means we're going to come to the top of our chart. We're going to sell limit 2. And we're going to attach the indicator. And because, find our indicator, the 5-minute 9 EMA offset is -1 because we're going down. And we're going to push play. Okay. And here you have, let me slow this down a little bit. So here we had a push down, and this push down, it didn't quite come below this low, but you know, it came about to it. We're going sideways, so that's a good sign. Okay, let's speed it up here. And so that's all we do is we wait. And really, the further it pushes down here, the better we should feel, because the more space we create in this gap, and see how the gap is getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, that's better and better for our trade. Okay. So here it tried to pull up. It didn't quite get there. So now we're just going sideways. See, this whole time we're just sitting here waiting. Now this right here, I would be watching. Okay. So this would be a pivot point that if it broke would be a deal breaker. And so let's mark that out real fast. It doesn't happen, but let's just say, because we know what happens next, but if we didn't know what happens, let's talk about it. All right, so here we have a strong push down. We have, I mean, it kind of goes sideways here, but we have, you know, this kind of, it kind of peaks up to here, and then it pulls back pretty hard, right? In a couple of candles, it comes all the way back down here. So these are these pivots that we've been talking about. Okay, so now we're coming down here. So as I'm watching this happen in real time, the thing I'm looking for is I would be concerned, again, this doesn't happen here, but let's pretend that, you know, let's pretend we don't know yet. If the gold line was like way up here, all right, and if price had to come past this by a significant amount, meaning, you know, not 1 or 2 ticks, but it really had to push past this in order to touch the gold line, I would probably not take that trade because we're stair-stepping in the wrong direction at that point. In this case, we don't worry about it very long because, and again, it happened quickly because I'm fast forwarding, but this started to push down, and almost immediately the gold line comes below this pivot. So once the gold line comes below this pivot, now there's nothing, you know, we're not worried about that pivot anymore. Price comes down, not quite below here, but, you know, at a reasonable level. And really, we're just kind of going sideways. We get filled. First target right away, second target right away, okay? So you can see when it's all said and done, we kind of have just this sideways trading action, which worked out really well. We ended up selling at the top of this range and then buying back our shorts at the bottom of the range, which is really just perfect. So we're up $215. This is touch number 1. We've had 1, 2, 3, several candles. So we're going to go ahead and put our next order in. Again, this would happen slower if you were in real time. EMA 9, -1. Okay. And fast forward. And let's see what happens. Okay, we got a fill. So the other thing that can give you kind of cause for concern potentially is if, let me pause it here, see where our targets are at. See how our first target is here, which is kind of at the bottom of this, of where price has been. And see how our second target is all the way, I mean, it's right at the edge of where price has been. And that was 1, 2, 3 pivot lows. I guess we want to say that before. I would be wondering, can price make it down here? It's going to have to push pretty hard to get back down to this target. So I would be a little bit concerned about that. Let's see what happens. Doesn't quite get to our 10. Not quite at our 10. I will point out though, if you actually see it did actually touch it. So because these are limit orders, price actually has to come past them by 1 tick in order for these orders to fill. So when this hits our 10 ticks right in this red candle, I don't know if you noticed, but this one of the two, this one right here, oh, it jumped up. Yeah. That jumped this order to trail by only 10. And that's because that trigger happens at 10 ticks, even though our order didn't fill because it didn't go past 10 ticks. Once it hits 10 ticks, then our trailing stop is going to kick in. Okay, so that's going to save us a little bit if it totally reverses on us, which, will it? I don't know. This one takes a while. And this trailing stop, oh, there it goes. Okay, so did get our first one. And you can see our second one is starting to trail up. And if you'll notice where price went, this bar right here came down to the exact same low as this guy right here. And then it turned around and started to go back up again. And do we get stopped out? Not yet. Almost. And there it goes. That filled our target. Okay, we're up $365. Not a bad day, right? Now, because we were in this trade for so long, we didn't even have to worry about if any of these were good entries because we just sort of hung out through all of them. So that's, I don't know, something to note, right? Because we had talked about this would have been a good entry. You know, we said don't get in these ones, but you could get in this one. Well, if you got in this one, which was the second touch of our gold line after the cross, I mean, it was a long ride, but you were in it for the long term. Now, we've had all kinds of touches here. So at this point, you'd have to go back and say, okay, where are we at? I don't even know, because we know we had price reset kind of in between all of this nonsense. You know, the way that I would look at this is I would look at this. Did this guy reset? I don't know. That looks like that's on the line to me. I mean, if it's not clear, then I'm going to say no reset on this candle. And I'm going to say this is a touch. So I don't know if it's 1 or 2 or what, but it's at least 1. And we had a second one here. So I'm not looking for a trade now until we reset or the lines cross. Let's see what happens. See, I think that actually keeps us out of a trade that works, if I remember right. Okay. All right, so up here we have this guy that's above it. Because we've had this strong pull down, I would count this as a reset. And this is kind of funny. In real time, I think, I'm trying to remember what we walked through in the last video, but I'm pretty sure that we said this was an entry because this was a reset and this would have been first touch, second touch. I don't know. So this is where, you know, it gets kind of tricky. And it's not always clear. right? And so there's not always, you know, the perfect right answer. So let's see. Now, first of all, I'll point out we're in the afternoon. Okay, so this is 12 right now. It's 12:30 Central Time, so that's, you know, 1:30 Eastern Time. So you might not even be in any of this. But I would say this is a close above. This is a reset. I would be putting an order in here. And this is where my poor memory is good, because I don't remember what happens next. I don't know if I'm truly unbiased here, because I don't remember if this is going to be a good move or a bad move. I mean, we're already up $365. That's not a bad day. So probably would have called it a day by now, but. Okay, and what do we have? Price comes down here, new low. All right, this is looking good. Pretty happy with this. We have this strong push. You know, about this time, I'm wishing that I had got in up here, right? Because it's just falling, falling, falling. Let's work our way back up. All right, let's slow it down. Huh. Doesn't tick me in. All right, I don't like this. I would count that as a touch. I would count this as a touch, because even though it didn't actually touch, it came up and pulled back. Oh, you know, I probably would have canceled this in real life. Let's see if it works out. Again, I don't remember. No, there you go. See? I would have canceled that in real life and I wouldn't have made money, so see how it plays out. Fast forward here, see if we can get our 20. Come on. You can do it. There we go. There's our 20. Okay, we're up $515. See, now I really wish I would have traded RTY this way, because that's a lot more than I made. All right, I think that's, I mean, you know, at this point, you know, I'd be saying, well, I don't know, was this touch 1, touch 2? So if, let's see, how would I think about this? I would give it another, because it's kind of unclear. We had some stepping here. You know, do I count that as a touch, or is that the only touch since a reset? I would really love to see a new low form. Okay, so we got it. So see how this candle pops down, creates a new low? That for me would be, I would say, let's do it again. And hopefully that makes sense, because if I'm not sure of my touch counter and I'm getting higher lows, then that does not give me confidence that we're going to continue lower. But if I can make an argument that we have a reset, we have a first touch, this would be a second touch, and it's coming off of a lower low, because this low is lower than this low, that tells me there's still some downward pressure here and gives me more confidence. And here it rushes up, fills me. Oh, well, that one worked out really well, didn't it? And the stop. So we made a little bit on that one. We're up now 545. All right, so we'll probably stop there. I think it just kind of dawdles around. At any rate, this would be second touch, right? So now we're looking for either a reset or price to cross before we would be looking for another entry. So hopefully that helps walking through that. As you can see, when you do it in real, you know, going back and pointing at charts that are already formed is a good step. But until you've actually traded it live, you know, you don't get the full context and the full experience, and it can raise some questions. So hopefully that helped. Let me know what you thought. If there was a trade there that, you know, why didn't you think of this or look at that, or why was this a factor here and not there? definitely ask those questions. You know, shoot me a video or type them in the chat, and happy to answer those. So hope that helps. Have a good day. We'll talk to you later.